and welcome back to the latest and greatest episode of the Shaving Points podcast. My name is Jayton May, joined as always by my co-host Quentin Crisco. How are we doing tonight, Quentin?
Doing wonderful, Jay. Looking to bounce back from a meh week. Last week was tough, but my name is Quentin Crisco. You can follow me on Twitter at BuckYaStats. You can follow this here podcast on Twitter at shaving_points. That's PTS_pod. We're on Instagram. We're on Twitter. We're on Facebook. Reddit. And make sure to go check us out at shaving-points.com.
Yes, sir. All right. So, pretty rough week, but you know what they say, it's all uphill from here, right?
I've never understood that saying. Is it uphill or downhill? Because downhill's easier, but it's downhill sounds bad. But uphill is I don't want to walk uphill.
That quote is forever ruined for me because of the show Due Date with Zach Galifianakis, because whatever he says in that show I think is backwards, but that's the one that always resonates with me. And I think he says it's all uphill from here, and I think it's supposed to be it's all downhill from here. And then Robert Downey Jr. was like, no, that's wrong. He was like, no, everybody wants to be up. Nobody wants to be down. And then it was just a perfect back and forth. One of the great underrated comedies from the mid 2010s that I absolutely love. So shout out Due Date. But
heard it here first.
We got some issues in the league right now. These roughing the passer penalties are getting a little bit out of hand.
It's been a while since they felt since it's I don't remember the last uproar. I feel like the last time there was an uproar over roughing the passer penalty was 4 or 5 years ago. So it's about due.
We had two of the worst ones I've ever seen this week. You had the Tom Brady, which was, I don't even know how to explain how bad that was. He didn't fall on him. He didn't maliciously sling him down. The whistle never blew. He still had the ball, and he just wrapped him up by the waist, spun, and tackled him. And the fact that these refs in the NFL aren't held accountable for calls is kind of getting ridiculous. There's got to be some accountability. I mean, you just need to put these guys on a full-time salary. I don't know what the plan is to fix it, but the fact that the ref can just say at the end of the game, I stand with my call is absolutely outrageous.
You know how you hold them accountable? Go on your computer, get a clip of the play, and just tweet out, "This is bullshit" at NFL officiating. And it goes viral.
That gets it done every time. And then last night we had a strip sack when Oakland was driving, or Las Vegas was driving, and the guy stripped the ball from Derek Carr and then fell on him. So he was already on offense by the time he actually fell on Derek Carr. And they said because he was in the passing motion or passing posture, you're protected from that point on. And so the guy fell on his own arm to try to relieve the pressure off Derek Carr. Still got the penalty. Las Vegas goes on and scores and turns the Kansas City crowd into one of the most hostile environments I've ever seen in my life. On top of Patrick Mahomes already being Patrick Mahomes, Travis Kelce already being Travis Kelce. And I think if it's not for that play, I don't know if Kansas City wins that game. But after that play happened and that crowd got roaring, and Travis Kelce goes out there and catches 4 touchdowns. Patrick Mahomes goes out there and slings 4 touchdowns. I mean, they're just having their way with him after that. Towards the end of the game, it got a little dicey. He had 2 really questionable calls. I don't know if you watched it, Quentin, but so Kansas City scored. They're up 7, and they go for 2 to make it a 2-score game, which I agree with.
Mm-hmm.
And then coming back, Las Vegas scores and then goes for 2 to take the lead instead of tying it.
Yeah, I saw the uproar of like analytics Twitter and football guy Twitter mashing
Just
each other's heads
having-
after the game, and I didn't know
having-
why. Now I
Yeah.
know.
Yeah, so back-to-back scoring plays. The Kansas City one made sense because you're already up 7. Kick the extra point. You make it a 1-possession game, a 1-possession game. If you can make a 1-possession game, a 2-possession game, in my opinion, you always have to do that. That's just my opinion.
Well, that's what
But-
made the arguments on Twitter so funny, because like the football guys are sitting there saying, "This is why analytics are dumb." The analytics guys are like, "Analytics told you not to do that."
Yeah. And then you look on the other side of it, and you could tie the game with an extra point. But granted, it is Patrick Mahomes that you're giving the ball back to. But it is Patrick Mahomes you're giving the ball back to. So if you think he's going to score anyway, wouldn't you want to try to at least tie it up and try to stop him? Because they did stop him. And then they failed after that. But that's neither here nor there. But yeah, I think you have to tie the game right there. I mean, you're giving the ball to Patrick Mahomes. You're giving the ball back to him anyway. I mean, at least if he has a lead, maybe
How much time was left?
Enough to run it out with a couple of first downs, maybe 3:24 or something like that.
Oh yeah, that's too much time to be playing for the lead there. Like if it was like under a minute, I could get it.
Yeah,
like
if you knew
there's the argument of like
if you
when
knew there
you're
was
on
no
the road.
chance. Yeah, if you knew there was no chance of like getting the ball back, but let me check and see. So Devontae Adams scored with 4 minutes and 27 seconds left, and they went for 2, down 1. So they could have tied it up with 5 minutes left in the game.
Yeah.
When they still had 2 timeouts. 5 minutes left in the game, 2 timeouts, and you can either tie the game or go for a 1-point lead. But
well, I think just like the
you have to
game
tie the game
theory
there.
behind it of like the reason you'd go for 2 is because you're saying we're still going to need another touchdown to win, and we're 50-50 to get a 2-point conversion on each one. So we're going to
That's
hit 14 at least either way.
well,
But,
so
like,
that's the
game theory there
that's
doesn't
if
really
you're down
make
for-
sense.
that's if you're down. That makes more sense if you're down 14. But in this scenario,
Yeah.
if Kansas City goes and kicks a field goal,
Yeah.
then you have to score a touchdown. To where if they kick a field goal in a tie game, then a field goal still ties it back,
Yeah.
and then you still have the chance for overtime. But you're basically taking your opportunity to get you're taking your opportunity for a field goal. Basically, it's touchdown or bust next time you get the ball, which
Yeah.
to me is crazy. And also, Kansas City has a bad kicker. Already missed 2 field goals in the last 2 weeks. So even if Kansas City goes down there and gets some field goal range, they could miss.
Yeah. Yeah, no, that's exactly where I
Like-
was going with that. Was like, but then you're not factoring the field goal idea of it. I mean, it just sounds like Josh McDaniels outsmarted himself, to be honest.
Yeah. But Devontae Adams, 2 monster
If it was
plays.
anyone other than Josh McDaniels, I'd say they were an idiot. But like
I mean,
that just didn't make
doesn't have-
sense.
Josh McDaniels doesn't necessarily have the best track record as a head coach either. So,
Yeah, I know.
yeah, I mean, Devontae Adams, monster game. 2 50-yard plus touchdowns. Travis Kelce, 4 touchdowns, 25 receiving yards. Just an absolute. I think that's the lowest amount of receiving yards he's had. I think they said in 17 games. And that's the most touchdowns he's ever had in a game.
It's the fewest receiving yards in a game with 4+ touchdown catches ever.
Yeah.
You know what the next closest is?
Close to 60.
93 yards.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I mean he did have 3 other catches that were called back for some sort of holding or offensive penalties. So, and then realistically he probably had closer to 45. But still, I mean that's not a whole lot for 4 touchdowns.
Yeah.
And they're all 4 touchdowns were less than, I think, 5 yards. So incredible by me. I had him in every single one of my fantasy leagues. I had Devontae Adams and Travis Kelce in the same league in 3 different leagues.
We told everyone here first, it is never too early to draft Travis Kelce, and this is why.
Yeah, he was a top 5 scorer in fantasy this week and had 5 catches for 25 yards and 4 touchdowns. So and Patrick Mahomes just doing Patrick Mahomes things.
You know what one of the best bets in football at any time is?
Anytime touchdown for Travis Kelce?
Well, yeah, but live betting Patrick Mahomes down multiple scores early.
So that's what I did as well. Chiefs were down 10-20 and 19 seconds left. And before the kick, I got the Chiefs at plus 210 live. And then 19 seconds left. Patrick Mahomes marches down there. He almost hit Travis Kelce on a 65-yard touchdown. So Travis Kelce's open, and the last second cuts towards the sideline because if he catches the ball, there's 5 seconds left. So Patrick Mahomes throws the ball to the end zone, going for the touchdown, and Travis Kelce cuts towards the sideline, thinking he's going to have to get out of bounds, and just like a half-second miscommunication. And I think Travis Kelce would have caught it for a touchdown, but he went for the sideline. Mahomes threw the Hail Mary, basically, and they missed that opportunity. But, yeah, that should have been 5 touchdowns, and they should have gone into half down 3. But going to half, down 7, just great comeback. But some of the other games,
so
we have to –
Patrick, just real quick, Patrick Mahomes, when he's down by 10 points or more in the first quarter, is 12-9 straight up.
That's pretty
That's
good.
the most ridiculous stat I've ever heard. Like,
have a winning record, having a winning record.
Like, what do you think all those lines were on the money line? Like 1,200, like, and you're betting 12-9 on plus 1,200 money line, like,
yeah. Oof. But yeah, Chiefs look good. Chiefs are rolling. Got a monster matchup this week. We'll talk about that here in a minute. Another team I wanted to talk about is the Patriots. Are they good, or is this just the Lions having a bad week?
I think the Patriots are really tough to play in Foxborough.
Yeah, they're just a tough team,
and they're just well coached, and they know what they're doing. Like, I don't think.
And the Giants.
I mean, who knows? Maybe Bailey Zappi is the next Tom Brady.
Maybe so. I mean, the Lions just never could get anything going. They could never sustain a drive. Just one of those things where everything just went wrong for them. So I do like the Patriots going forward, but I think they might be getting a little bit too much love, and people might still be burying the Lions. I mean, we're talking about a Lions team that had a chance to beat Philadelphia. I mean, they're in every game. This is the first game they weren't in on. They still have a top 5 offense in the league after putting up a goose egg. Like, still pretty impressive. Amon-Ra St. Brown's on one leg. DeAndre Swift wasn't playing. They're going into a bye week this week. I think they get it fixed. They get it figured out. They're getting Jameson Williams back soon. Jamal Williams is probably a little banged up as well. So I mean, I think they're going to be just fine.
Their O-line is missing a few guys right now, I think, and that's huge for them.
Yeah. Then the last team I wanted to talk about before we go into our bets this week, New York Football Jets.
So
I know
was
Miami
Wilson good? I didn't catch any of that game. Was Wilson good?
He looked pretty good. Which one?
Zach Wilson.
Oh, yeah, he's good. Garrett Wilson's good too. But he's really good. Talked about all offseason. Breece Hall.
Yeah.
Breece Hall's damn good. The offensive line's coming together. Salah's got that defense kind of. So weird game. The Sky Judge takes Teddy Bridgewater out of the game after the first play, and then he goes to the sideline, passes every concussion protocol, is completely fine. All the neurologists say he's completely fine, but they say since he bounced his head off the turf on a safety that he can't come back in the game. Brand new rule.
It was because he wasn't walking straight when he stood up.
He stumbled a little bit, but I mean, that could be for any reason.
Zach Wilson was 14-21 for 200 yards, no touchdowns, no interceptions. He didn't do much.
Yeah, I mean, but they didn't have to either.
Yeah,
Brees Hall was a monster.
that's a
But
Mr.
I mean,
Trubisky line right there.
14 for 14 for 200 is still pretty solid. 14 for 20 for
Oh yeah,
200.
yeah.
You don't have to
Yards
do
per
much at
attempt
that
is
point.
fine.
Like, it was the fact that he didn't have to. But I mean, when he had to make plays on third down, he was making plays on third down. Garrett Wilson looked good. Corey Davis has looked good all year. I mean, I think the Jets are frisky.
Oh, they're definitely frisky. I was genuinely curious if Wilson was why they scored 40 or if Wilson was along for the ride.
Oh, yeah, a little bit of both. I mean, he got him down there a lot of the times, and I mean, they were just running the ball extremely well against that Miami defense. I think Michael Carter had 2 touchdowns. I think Brees Hall had 1 or 2 touchdowns.
Yeah, they only had they put together 180-yard drive and a few 50-yard drives. So like,
I mean, a few 50-yard drives
got
against a decent defense.
Yeah.
And then Quentin Williams was a monster. Absolutely buried Tyreek Hill. One of the funniest highlights of all time. So no, I like the Jets moving forward. I think they're frisky. They got a lot of young talent on that team, and they're playing mistake-free football with young talent that is performing quite well. So that's one of those teams where if they get hot and with all those young bucks, like they might be a force. Especially who knows when Tua's coming back. New England is maybe good, maybe not, just well coached, but I don't think there's a ton of talent on that New England team. And then you have the Bills, who are the class of the division. But I mean, I think with the way the AFC West looks, there's some wild card opportunities, and I think the Jets could squeeze their way into one of those wild card opportunities.
It's possible. I mean, you got what, the 7 teams now? I mean, it's anyone's
You got 7 teams. So you're gonna assume Bills when there's. It looks like the Chiefs might run away with the AFC West. That division's bad. And then the South is probably only putting out 1 team, maybe 2. Jacksonville. I mean, Tennessee's just quietly on a 3-game winning streak. They're going to be frisky. They always turn it on down the stretch. And then you have the Jags sitting there too. But I think the Colts might be dead. I mean, unless Sam Ehlinger comes in and can do something for them, Matt Ryan's bad. Matt Ryan's bad.
Yeah,
and then,
I mean, their O line just isn't good anymore, and he needs that. Like and they're just not good right now.
They're just not. And then you look at the North, and you think Cincy and Baltimore both, but it just seems like they can't put games together. It's like they're good, they look good, they play good, but they don't score points and they don't win games. It's like the craziest thing ever.
Yeah,
and then Pittsburgh's
wild.
the worst team. Pittsburgh's the worst team in the league, and the Browns are good enough to lose on a Jacoby Brissett interception on the last drive every week.
Yeah,
like 3 straight games they've lost when they were their last 3 losses. I mean, where they had a chance to win the game at the end of the game, and Jacoby Brissett does a touchdown after playing well the entire game.
Yep.
But even their wins, they barely squeaked out, and they were kind of miraculous. So they could be as good as 5-0, and they could be as bad as 0-5.
Which means 2-3 wins is about right.
Yeah. It means they're a 500 football team. Most of the league is.
What the hell happened to our Jaguars?
See, that's the one. That's the anomaly.
Like, we were both on that game.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't know. I think this week is the test. Who did they play last week?
Houston.
Yeah, just a weird game. And Houston's frisky too, but I don't know. I think it was a little bit of the Jaguars thinking it was getting a little too big for their britches, and then Houston just being a talented team. And I mean, I don't mean to toot our own horn, but toot like David Pierce is good.
Yeah.
I mean, we were on that guy pre-draft. I mean, everybody hopped on him in the preseason, but like we've been on that dude since before the draft. Yeah. So,
I think that's the only game I really want. I mean, I still do not. I only caught the end of the game in London.
Yeah.
I still do not understand how the Giants scored on Green Bay at all. Like,
Danny Dimes.
I guess
He's a
so.
nickname. Like, he's just good enough. And then Saquon had a couple big plays. But,
Yeah.
I mean, Danny Dimes is just good enough. And, like, he's just quick enough to where he can consistently pick up first downs with his legs. And then from there, makes one or two throws. And then you still have Saquon. They're very well coached. Brian Daboll's a hell of a coach. And Danny Dimes is just athletic enough to keep every single drive alive.
Yeah.
But
yeah, I was shocked. I mean, I had the under in that game, and
yeah,
I thought that was a lock. And
Yeah.
I was shocked by that. But honestly, I wasn't even upset that I lost the bet because Green Bay lost to the
Green Bay
Giants.
lost. And I think they're going to lose again. But last game, we could just do this real quick.
Yeah.
Dallas Cowboys.
I was on it, man. I was on
Might
that
be.
trade last weekend.
Might be the best team in football.
Uh-huh. I mean, that
Like,
defense,
that defense-
is rocking.
I mean, and
I'm
we've played good offenses and haven't given up 20 points yet. We haven't given up 2 touchdowns in a game yet. Incredible, opportunistic. They can rush the passer. One of the best rushing the passer teams we've seen since I don't even know when. This early into the season.
probably
I mean,
2018 Bears. I mean, that was the last one that was like you could
They're-
win just off the pass rush.
Yeah, I mean, I think they're getting pressure on the quarterback at like a 78% clip. Last I saw, like 7 out of 10 dropbacks, somebody is getting pressure,
Mhm.
and yeah, I mean, I'm still tired of the Cooper Rush love. Like, you need to calm down on the Cooper Rush love. I mean, he threw 12 passes last week. I mean, he's not good. I am hoping and praying that the Washington Football Commander team goes out there and pays that man $120 million. Nothing would make me happier in the world than the Washington Football Commanders paying Cooper Rush $120 million. And when they do it, I will celebrate for years and years and years and years because he's not good, but he's basically what everybody thinks Chase Daniel is a guy who can come in and manage the game and not lose it for you. Like,
Chase Daniel's not even really that. People just think he.
No, that's what I said. I said he's exactly what people think Chase Daniel is.
Yeah, I caught the slip in there.
Yeah. But yeah, so Cowboys best team in football. Jets may be frisky. Chiefs are fantastic. Refs suck. Jags have a prove-it game.
And we got a bunch of
And
winners.
Somehow the Giants won with Daniel Jones. Oh, another thing. One more thing. Pittsburgh Steelers worst team in football. Tried to say it last week. 14 points wasn't damn near enough for them in that game.
Nope,
But moving
it's
on.
not. And somehow
start
I'm still
out-
tempted to take him this week, but I'm not doing it.
We'll start out with the game of the year. Everybody has been waiting for it, clamoring for it after last week's Thursday night barn burner. Everybody can't wait for Thursday night football. I've been saying it for years. We had an electric one last week with the Colts and Broncos. Probably top 10 game I've ever seen in my life. Followed up this week by the Chicago Football Bears against the Washington Football Commander, our words. And I can't wait for this game. I mean, this is one of those games where you look at the beginning of the year and you look at the primetime games and you circle it on your schedule. You tell the wife, hey, on Thursday, October 13th, we ain't doing shit except watching Chicago, Washington. Game of the year type potential here. Who do you got?
You know who I got, man. I got my Bears. I mean, so I've been working on a preview for this game for the last 2 days because it's a short week and it sucks. And I've just been like going through all 22 and like trying to get my video out, my article out. And I did that all. It's all done as of like 2 hours ago. But one thing I learned through all this is that the Washington Football Commanders are really, really bad on offense. Like really bad. Um, like they've scored a total of, I think it's something like 5 first half touchdowns so far this year. 80% of their yards have come in the second half, and 70% of the plays that they've run on offense have been while trailing. Like they're the definition of garbage time production. So I got 2 units when I saw it open up at a pick'em. I put 2 units on the Bears money line just because Bears are coming off a almost comeback victory in Minnesota last week. Justin Fields' best game of the year, maybe the best game he's ever put on film as a pro. Like
I thought they were
it was
winning that game last
clean.
week.
He looked good. There was a lot to like about the way Justin Fields played last week, which was much needed because the first 4 weeks he was not showing that. He was not looking like that same player that he was towards the end of last year, and it was starting to get concerning. But the fact that he did it last week on the road in a tough stadium to play in made me feel a lot better. The only hesitation I have in this game is if that Washington D-line is still a monster. If they just wreck the game, then it's going to be tough. But I don't trust Washington to score any points in the first half. I don't trust them to do much of anything in the first half. It's clear watching their film. Like, they're trying to get Carson Wentz in rhythm, and he's just missing throws. And then at some point, they just say, fuck it, we're throwing deep now. And he's missing deep throws because he never got a rhythm. It's rough.
Who was the receiver that let that ball go at the end of the game?
I don't even know. Was it Dotson?
No, for the Bears, or do y'all have a Dotson?
Okay. I thought you were talking about someone on Washington.
No.
Oh yeah, Amir Smith-Marset. Who
okay. Is he still in the game? Still on the team?
On the team? Yeah, he's not getting cut. It's a rebuilding year for the Bears.
I thought they were going to win that game. He was looking good in that 2-minute drill. It's the best he's looked all year, like you said. Washington football team might be one of the worst, if not the worst team in the league. Carson Wentz is absolutely abysmal. Justin Fields got some juice. I'd like to see Khalil Herbert get going a little bit here. I don't know anything about the Bears, but I'm assuming he's still healthy. I don't know anything about David Montgomery.
Montgomery got hurt in week 3, and he was supposed to be missed like 4 or 5 games, and he came back after 2 games and a monster game last weekend. And Khalil Herbert still doesn't know how to pass protect. So, yeah. And Montgomery's great at pass pro.
But yeah, I mean, I just think Justin Fields' talent alone is enough to win this game. I think the vibes in Chicago are about the highest they've been in a long time. So yeah, I'm taking Chicago here. Don't love it, but I mean, I don't think I could take Washington to beat anybody in the league right now. So I'm taking Chicago -1. Moving on.
My 2 units is very biased. It would only be 1 unit if I wasn't a Bears fan.
Yeah. Moving on to my next game. Our next game. We both have this one, it looks like. Jacksonville Jaguars going to Indianapolis. Talked about it a little bit before we got into our bets. Think this is a prove it game for them here. I got the money line at +115. I think it's a 1-point spread right now. Yeah, I mean, I like Jacksonville here. Matt Ryan's terrible. Jacksonville can rush the passer. Trevon Walker's look pretty good. They got a couple guys on that defense. Devin Lloyd out of Utah is looking pretty good for them. And that offense is looking really good. Christian Kirk looking like he might be worth the contract. And then you relook at the Christian Kirk contract compared to what all these other guys signed for and what they're doing in their offenses. And it's like Christian Kirk might have been worth the money. Who knows? He might have reset the market and created a absolutely crazy, hysterical, overpaid market. But out of all the receivers they got paid, I mean, he's looking pretty good compared to what he's making. So I don't know. Jags might have something, they might not. I think this is a put your nuts on the table game. You're either You're either going to compete for this division or you're not, and this is the week we find out. I'm taking Jags money line here, plus 115. What do you got?
I got Jags money line. I mean, the way I see it, they've underperformed 2 weeks in a row. I don't expect it to be 3. I think that
Doug Pearson's
going to come out there with a good game plan. I think that they're going to get after Matt Ryan. Ryan, he needs a good offensive line. He had it his whole career for the most part in Atlanta, and that's not a coincidence. They focused on it because the guys cannot play without a wall in front of him. Yeah, and so, I mean, it's that the Colts offensive line is a mess right now. They were starting a third-round rookie at left tackle last week. They moved their left tackle to right tackle and their right tackle to, like, right guard. Like, it was it was a mess. And I think Ryan Kelly got injured, their center in that game too. And Quentin Nelson, I think he's clearly dealing with something. I don't know what it is, but he doesn't look right. That O-line doesn't have the swagger and the juice that it once did. And once you know that, you know they're not getting Matt Ryan that they paid for.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I mean, it hasn't looked good for him at all.
But
like
weird
we
things
said,
do happen in Indy.
Yeah, like we said, I mean, one of the best games in NFL history last week with them in Denver. So you never know. I just don't know if he can follow up another barn-burning performance like that with a win this week. So give me Jags money line. Next on the list, I don't have this one. You got this one. We got Cincinnati going or at home versus the New Orleans.
Going to New Orleans.
Oh, okay. Cincinnati. Yeah. So the home
the
team
second team on the graphic is always the home team
because I always use invert. Anyway, going to the New Orleans Taysom Hills, and what do you got on this game?
I got Cincy -1. I think Cincy is a far better team. I know New Orleans is a tough place to travel to, tough place to play in, but I don't care.
You don't think Taysom has to win this game?
No, I don't. I mean, that defense has not looked good lately. They got a lot of talent. I thought they were going to be a really good defense, and they're giving up a ton of points every week.
But Seattle might be good too.
Question. I mean, maybe they are, but I think Joe Burrow and company are better.
You're telling me Joe Burrow and Jamar Chase are better than Geno Smith and Tyler Lockett? Are you insane?
How many national championships do they have?
Well, Tyler Lockett was Kansas State and Geno Smith is West Virginia, so 0.
Boom. My point exactly.
Lock it in. Lock it in. Cincinnati -1.
Boom.
All right, moving on. We have another one that I do not have. You have the Carolina Panthers without Matt Rule and a team full of disarray going to Los Angeles and covering 10.5. This is a game where I was like, it's only 10.5, and I was like, I don't know, kind of felt a little ratty, but it's like I don't know if I can take the Rams laying 10.5 to anybody right now, but I also don't know if, like, I'm assuming the Rams can score 13. So it's like, in my mind, can Carolina kick a field goal?
So, you know who's starting this game at quarterback for Carolina?
PJ Walker.
PJ Walker. You know what PJ Walker's record is as a starting quarterback in the NFL?
I don't know anything about PJ Walker.
He is 2-0. He won a game 20-0 and won a game 34-10.
Fantastic.
So every time PJ Walker started, he has put up a total of 54 points, and the defense only allowed 10. He is the heart and soul of this team.
And
in all reality, though, dead cat bounce. Coach just got fired.
Who's their interim?
I don't even care. I don't care. Dead cat bounce. I love a dead cat. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to belittle you.
I care because they got some bad coaches on that coaching staff.
They might. All I know is when a bunch of pros are playing for a guy who they don't really want to play for, anyone's better. And
yeah,
Christian
they might not want
McCaffrey's
to play
trying
for
to
the.
get out of there. Christian McCaffrey's trying to make someone say, "Hey, come give a first round pick for me." DJ Moore's trying to make some contender say, "Man, that guy looks good. He's only cost a first
Isn't
round
PJ
pick."
Walker the guy who's played for like 17 teams? That
I
could
think
never
he's only-
say.
No, I think he's only played for Carolina in the NFL. He was
Who am I
Temple
thinking of?
quarterback. He came there with Rule, actually.
Oh yeah, because he came. Yeah, he coached
From the
with Rule.
XFL, I think.
Yeah,
Um,
he played for Rule at Temple.
Yeah. And like, really, one of the biggest factors here for me is the Rams still can't block anybody.
They're bad.
No one with an O-line playing like their O-line is right now
Their
should be
defense
10 and a
is
half
pretty
point
good.
favorites over anybody.
Yeah,
Their defense isn't playing that good. They
Yeah,
are
I mean,
good.
I
They're
don't
not
know.
playing up to it.
I don't know what you can say about their defense. I mean, they did give up one or two touchdowns to the Cowboys.
I'm not even sure.
I know for sure one. I know the Tony Pollard 50-yard run, but I thought Gallup might have had one. Either way, doesn't matter. Yeah, I mean, I love the under in this game.
I almost took
love
the under too, but I only had one bet on it.
Yeah, and so if I'm betting this game, I'm probably taking the under. But yeah, we have 41 total here. My only thing about that is Carolina's defense isn't that great. Cooper Kupp, still Cooper Kupp. I mean, I think we're going to get an Allen Robinson game at some point. Sean McVay is still a good offensive coordinator. They still have Matt Stafford. I mean, they could go out and score 40 by themselves and kind of prove it, make a
And
statement
honestly,
game. And
it's
what
just
better?
too early in the week to bet unders. Like,
Yeah,
you gotta wait until Sunday and look at where the cash is and say like, okay, you know,
Yeah.
you find the numbers that are inflated and then you hit them.
so going to our next game here, we have the New England Football Patriots versus the Cleveland Browns in Cleveland. That's kind of what I said at the beginning or before we started breaking down games. Cleveland just keeps finding ways to lose every week. Jacoby Brissett just can't close out a game to save his life or go for a game-winning drive. New England's very well coached. It looks like they're rallying around Bailey Zappi. They look like they love playing with that man. So I'm taking New England on the road here. I'm taking New England +3 underdog. This might be a money line play for me too. I mean, I love New England in this spot. Kind of buried New England earlier in the year, and they're just a good, solid football team. And if Bailey Zappi can go out there and sling it, boy, well, I mean, they got some weapons on that team. I mean, Devonta Parker, Nelson Aguilar. They have two tight ends. Ramondre Stevenson looked damn good last week. They have a decent
My
offensive
dude
line.
Jacoby Myers put up 20 fantasy points last week.
Yeah, Jacoby Myers is still there. And then on top of all that, you have Bailey Zappi, who lit up college football last year. I know in a smaller conference, but still a very talented guy with a lot of arm talent and a guy that's not scared to sling it. And Devontae Parker's kind of been one of those guys for a long time that just has all this talent. Like this could be a quarterback that he could just mesh with because I think Devontae Parker had 7 targets last week. So I
I think
mean,
that was 2 weeks ago.
maybe 2 weeks ago, but either way, I mean, I love New England in this spot. After a monster win, they still feel like I feel like they're getting really undervalued here. Even if they would have lost to the Lions, like I still feel like 3 points would be the most this line should be. I think it should be closer to even. Maybe that's just me being stupid, but Cleveland hasn't really proven that they should. I don't know. I love New England here. What do you got?
I got New England +3. I just think I was a little on the fence about this one, and then I started thinking about it and just how much Bill Belichick loves to shit in the Browns Cheerios, and went and looked it up. Cleveland's 2-7 against Bill Belichick against the spread.
People
I mean,
forget that's where he started his coaching career, head
Yeah.
coaching career.
Yeah, and he got fired. It's personal. It's always been personal with him and the Browns, and that's enough for me to jump on New England +3.
Yeah. No, I agree 100%. Moving on to our next one here, we have Denver Broncos going to the Chargers, two teams that don't look great right now. We have 4.5 points spread here. I didn't touch this game. What you got?
I think Denver's going to bounce a little. I think that that they hit a breaking point. I don't think Russ is healthy at all, and I think it's impacting his deep ball especially. But I mean, he might be bad if he was healthier, but something doesn't look right about his ball right now. But I think he's going to get shot up with a bunch of stuff so he doesn't feel anything. And if I'm being blatantly honest, and do whatever it takes to have a good game because that fan base is turning on him fast. I think they're having a good game plan. I think they're going to, I don't even know if they'll win this game. I just think they'll do enough to keep it close.
And the Chargers haven't showed anything that's like, oh, wow, it's the Chargers. Like, they play, who did they almost lose to last week? Was it the Football Commanders? No.
No, who was it?
The close game.
I think I bet against them last week. I forget who it was, but Chargers going to Charger.
Yeah.
The Chargers, like,
Browns,
especially.
Browns.
I had Browns +3.
Browns should have won the game, and Jacoby Brissett the interception.
So, like,
they also missed a couple of field goals.
The Chargers had the most stacked starting lineup in football, and they got hurt, and they had no depth. Like, they're really hurting right now because their depth is just not there.
Well, Bosa's
playing banged up.
Can't stay healthy. Herbert's broken ribs. Eckler had a Eckler game.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
so that's promising. Josh Kelly kind of he had some flashes there too. So yeah,
stole one of Eckler's touchdowns.
If I had to bet this game, I'm probably with you on Denver just because at some point everything's just gonna fall apart completely, or they're gonna get it back together. And I think they're gonna get it back together.
Yeah. That's kind of where my head's at. Like, I think they're too talented to not figure something more out. And if they don't, that just means that Nathaniel Hackett has no business being the head coach. I think
that's already pretty clear.
Yeah.
I don't think we have to say any more than that to know that he shouldn't be the head coach. But, I think he's coaching for his job right now because he is bad.
So really how much do they regret hiring him to get Aaron Rodgers?
I still thought he was gonna be good. Then they trade them, and then he goes and gets Russ.
They're the best thing I saw.
They're getting close to the point of having a worse draft pick. Like Seattle's actual draft pick is going to be better than Denver's, and they're going to have both for the next 3 years, I think.
Yeah,
and they don't like. You can't get rid of that Russ contract. And so it's like if Russ doesn't pull something together, like Seattle's sitting on like a verge of like 3 top 10 picks. And it's like, what do you do?
I don't know. Gino's your guy. Right?
Well,
so,
I think Seattle goes and gets a quarterback. And I think Seattle goes and gets Stroud. I wasn't talking about what does Seattle do. I'm saying what does Denver do? Like,
so is Pete Carroll a quarterback whisperer?
He might be. He very well might be. A lot of QBs in his past that have done a lot better with him than without him.
Exactly. That's what I'm talking about, man. So one of the best things I saw this week was
and Gino had talent. Gino's always had talent. Like nobody ever questioned Gino's talent, and it was just always like, oh, he wasn't a leader. And he was just always on really bad Jets teams too, and then never got a chance after that. So this could just be the Gino resurgence. Like rarely do we see a quarterback get he basically got washed out. Like before last year when he had to come in for Russ, if you asked me if Geno Smith was still in the league, I probably would have told you no.
So honestly, Gino's supporting one of my theories right now about quarterbacks, that if you have the physical talent and you can just hang around long enough in the NFL,
and
like obviously there's the there's the work ethic side. Like, are you putting the work in, or do you care about it? All that, but like, if you have all that,
It seems like
and
his
you
approach.
didn't work out your first place, but you can hang around long enough, you get to a place that has talent around you, and you're an
A
experienced
lot of
vet, and
talent there
you're
at Seattle.
calmer at that point.
Mhm.
You can become a really good quarterback. Like I
Well-
don't think there's been enough examples of it to fully buy it yet, but I don't see like
Yeah.
if
Well,
these guys
then-
have the physical tools and the work ethic, then all they really need is experience, right?
yeah. Well, when the thing is, when you look at it, most of the time, the people who get the early starting situations that watch out that never end up working out, they're first round picks. They've made the money. Why would they go sit and hold a clipboard? Rarely do you have a guy like Geno Smith, who wasn't a first round pick, who
Yeah.
got forced into a starting role, who had that starting role for a while, that hadn't made the money, and so they stick like. If he would have ended up in a different situation, we might have never even heard from him, and then he might come in 7 years later as a career backup and do the same thing. But the reason why you don't really see guys wash out, go sit on the bench and come back is most of the time they're first round picks, and it's like, I've made so much money, I don't care about holding a clipboard and trying to work my way back into the league, you know.
Yeah. So
Sample size is going to
something
be
that I want
incredibly
to
small,
say about
even
the
for opportunities.
Nathaniel Hackett thing here. So his dad, Paul Hackett, was the coach at USC before Pete Carroll got there. So Pete Carroll took his dad's job. Then Lil Nathaniel finally gets a head coaching job in the NFL.
Yes,
Pete
I'm going to
Carroll
steal your
sells him a
quarterback.
bad sale of goods.
He said,
Like,
I'm going to
just
go steal your
fleeces
quarterback.
So
You
Pete
stole
Carroll
my
went
dad's
and won
job, I'm gonna
national
steal your quarterback.
championships with his dad's recruits, and then sold him a bad quarterback.
Got a lot of picks. And the crazy thing is, like, when we looked at that trade, you're like, who's that tight end they got?
Oh, Noah Fant.
Noah Fant. You're like, man, like, sucks for Noah Fant. Like he goes from Drew Lock
Yeah.
to Drew Lock, but he goes from Denver Drew Lock to Seattle Drew Lock. And then Geno comes and lights it up, and then he's nowhere to be found, and Will Dissly's just lighting it up.
Still sucks for Noah Fant.
Still sucks for Noah Fant.
Dude is
Tell you
so
what.
good too, man.
Is he? Is he?
Yeah.
He might be OJ Howard.
I mean, hey, he did well for me in fantasy in previous years without a good quarterback.
Yeah. I mean, as well as a 12th ranked tight end can do in fantasy football.
I guess so.
But, all right. Enough with that. We'll go on to our last game of the week, the truly premier game of the week. We have arguably two of the best teams in football. I think by far the two best teams in the AFC, which I think is pretty undeniable at this point.
Wait, we talking about the Jets?
We are talking about the Jets. Excuse me. We'll get to that game last.
Well, I thought the best team in the AFC, right?
Yeah. So we'll cover this one pretty quick. I basically already covered everything I want to say about this one from last week. But we got the Jets going to Green Bay. Something's wrong with Green Bay. I mean, we know they don't have receivers. Aaron Jones doesn't look all that great. Aaron Rodgers looks like he hates everybody. Their defense
What else
isn't playing at the level that we thought their defense was going to play at. The Jets are young. They're frisky. They're a very confident team. Young and confident. They're going to go into Green Bay, and they're either going to get their dicks beaten off, or they're going to go in there and win this goddamn football game. One of the two. But I love Jets here +7. I mean, Zach Wilson, not a whole lot of two in Wisconsin, a lot of moms. I mean, he's going to have his fair share of women of the night going around. Love the Jets in the spot +7. Garrett Wilson's been one of my favorite young players in the league so far. Breece Hall has been absolutely incredible. Their defense is playing better than expected. Salah's got these boys pumped up and ready to go. Give me the Jets +7. What do you got?
I got Jets +7. I mean, I just don't think Green Bay's that team this year who beats teams by 20-something points. And +7's too easy to backdoor into. Like, even if it's I think they put up 20 to 25 points a game. So you're saying, can the Jets score 20?
The only
You
thing
know?
that sucks about all this is that the Jets are going to win this game. The Packers are going to drop a couple more games. The Cowboys are going to keep on winning every week. Cowboys are going to get a first round bye. Somehow, some way, the Vikings are going to win the division in the North. Packers are going to be in a must-win Week 17 game, probably against the Bears. I don't know who they played last week of the season. And it's like if they win, they're in, and they get the 7th seed. And then we have Green Bay, Aaron Rodgers come into freaking Dallas in the divisional round after Dallas had an incredible season just to lose a really bad Aaron Rodgers team. I'm already not looking forward to it. I already hate my life. I already hate Aaron Rodgers, but I'm going to relish in it for now. Give me the Jets.
Jets, Jets. Flash Gordon,
All right.
baby.
Flash Gordon. All right, so now moving on to the premier matchup. We have the best two teams in football, arguably, without a doubt, the two best teams in the AFC. We have the two best quarterbacks in football, without a doubt. I don't think you can even argue that at this point. You have one of the greatest game ever last year in the divisional round of the playoffs, Buffalo versus Kansas City. Buffalo had to go the entire summer hearing about 13 seconds was too much time for Patrick Mahomes. He's on his second baby now, so maybe 13 seconds is enough time for Patrick Mahomes. But yeah, I mean this is truly one of those games at the beginning of the season that you see on the schedule, and it is appointment television for everybody. Yeah, you give me Kansas City at home catching 3 points to the 85 Bears, and I'm taking them. It don't matter. Kansas City at home, Patrick Mahomes at home, catching 3 points. Give me Kansas City. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, so the numbers actually like Buffalo here, and it made me like pause when I was looking at this. I was like, do I like Buffalo? And like I was the first time when I was writing down my bets this morning, like I was like, at first I wrote Buffalo, and I came back later and scratched. I was like, what the hell am I saying? Kansas City +3 at home, like that's a no-brainer bet.
Truly, in all honesty, this is probably the rattiest line of the season, but I don't care. Like, at some point, you have to throw your gambling brain out the window and say, like, yes, this is a rat line. Yes, the public's going to be all over this. Yes, this is what Vegas wants you to do. But it's Patrick Mahomes at home catching 3 points. And I mean,
if the Bills win this game, it's because they have a walk-off field goal, right? So then you push.
Maybe. Or maybe the Bills just come out here and... I mean, the Bills need this game more than the Chiefs need it, I feel like.
Yeah, I feel like Patrick Mahomes is going to match all game, whatever they do. And just like...
Yeah.
I mean, that's the way these guys are. Josh Allen and Pat Mahomes, they just go 1 for 1, like, until they're out of time. So whoever has the ball last in field goal range wins.
Bills have had a good pass rush. Von Miller's been very, very, very good for them. But outside of that, I mean, Jordan Poyer's looked all right. I mean, but their secondary hasn't been incredible by any means. He only missed one game, I believe. I think he was back last week.
It was Hyde then who's out. Okay.
The week they lost was the week that Poyer missed.
Okay. I knew one of them was out for the season and one of them was banged up. It's Hyde who's out then.
Yeah, but I mean, so yeah, give me that and give me the over 54. I mean, you have the two best quarterbacks of our generation. I mean, I don't think anybody in the league right now or anybody coming up is going to even begin to get close to these guys' level for the next 10, 15 years. I mean, I think this is Brady and Peyton 2.0, that you're going to have a lot of quarterbacks come in and out of the league that get really good. You might have some Big Bens that pop up and win a couple of Super Bowls. You might have some Joe Flacco's that pop up and have a miraculous season. You might have you already have Phillip Rivers reincarnated in Justin Herbert. Just a guy that's really, really good every year. That
you're gonna have an Eli show up and just like
So Trevor Lawrence is gonna be like the Eli Manning, where it's like he's always pretty good, and then he like pops up and like wins 2 Super Bowls, but then the rest of the time he's bad. Yeah, I mean, all these guys already have a role, and then you just have these 2 guys duking it out every year. Yeah, I mean, I don't know what else to say about this game. I mean, I love the over here. You look at that game last year.
I like the over here
against it, and it was one of those things where it was like against all odds. Like for both teams, it was like, oh, there's only this much time left. Like, can Josh Allen go and do it? And then he goes down there and scores a touchdown, and you're like, oh, he just won the game. There's only 13 seconds left. Patrick Mahomes goes down there, kicks the field goal. I mean, it's just one of those things where when these 2 guys get after it, these 2 quarterbacks get after it, it's whatever you can do, I can do better. The 90s commercial, or that might be an actual song too. I don't know, but just I mean, just fireworks, and yeah, I don't see how this doesn't go over 54.
I'm probably gonna do a parlay
it's also
with an alternate over and alternate spread, just like to
it's
try
also
to.
It's also a primetime. Yeah, it's also a primetime game, so they could very well not go over because primetime games never go over.
I have a hard time not betting an over with these 2 quarterbacks, if I'm being completely honest.
If you bet the under with these 2 teams, you should be sent to Russian prison to go hang out with Brittany Griner.
Oof.
Because you might as well be a terrorist at that point. She's not a terrorist, but, you know, you get the joke. Moving on. Some college football picks real quick. College football has been trash for me. And I've been asked on a lot of college football games by other people on games that I don't bet that I've been 100% right on. And it's just the games that I decide to bet I've been terrible on. So maybe shoot me a DM and be like, hey, you didn't talk about this one on the pod. Who do you like? It's probably going to be a winner. And
honestly,
everything I give out.
Aside from multiple unit plays, like we've been just break even. Like break even isn't what you strive for. But
I had a guy text me on 5 different games last weekend, 5-0 on the games he asked me about, and I went 2-5 on my own games. Like, and that happens week after week. And it was like, I love Mississippi State, I love Tennessee, and I'm like, well, I don't watch them enough to really know. I was like, I watch every Big 12 game. Like, I feel like I know the Big 12 really well, and then I just don't. So I'm just an idiot. I don't know. But starting out, we'll run through these pretty quick. I don't have an in-depth breakdown. We have USC versus Utah. Utah just lost to UCLA. Utah lost earlier in the season to Florida. I think USC might be the best team in that conference. The fact that they're catching 3 points. I mean, I thought this would be a pick 'em. And the fact that USC is catching 3, I love USC plus 3. Might take the money line here. Next, we have Kentucky at home versus Mississippi State. This is one of those where Kentucky looked really, really bad last week with a backup quarterback. Mississippi State might be the second best team in the SEC, but something about Mike Leach teams just underperforming, and they already did it against LSU. They refused to kick field goals. Just going for it on 4th down over 4th down over 4th down again. Just get themselves into bad situations and can definitely blow a cover and blow a win outright. I think this is a situation for them. I think Kentucky's getting their quarterback back. I believe if Will Levis doesn't play this game, I might have a different opinion. But to my knowledge, Will Levis is playing that game. Give me Kentucky plus 7 versus Mississippi State. BYU versus Arkansas. Arkansas is really bad. They're on their backup quarterback. BYU is not as good this season as I thought they would be. I thought they could potentially run the table. I've taken them twice now in both their losses. I'm taking them again here. BYU money line plus 110. Arkansas is really bad. BYU's got to get off the mat at some point. They just haven't looked as good as they are, and I think they're a good football team, and I think they get this win. Next, we have 2 of potentially the best teams in the Big 12, Oklahoma State versus TCU. So I know I talked a lot of shit about TCU in the offseason, and they're a good team, and I know I talked a lot of shit about their stadium. So I want to apologize to TCU fans about talking shit about your stadium. Like, you definitely have a top 5 stadium in the Dallas-Fort Worth area for high school teams. Like, I will concede that fact that you have a top 5 high school stadium in the Dallas-Fort Worth Metroplex area. So I'm sorry for disrespecting your stadium and your fans, your trash fan base. Yeah, everything about you is absolutely garbage. But you have a very good coach and you have a very good team. But Oklahoma State is a good football team, catching 4 points. I don't know. I mean, I was torn on this one, but I mean, you give me Oklahoma State +4 against anybody in the Big 12 right now, besides maybe Texas, I'm probably taking OK State. So I think they can lose any. I think they can lose to anybody in the country just about right now by 3. So the fact that we're getting 4 at TCU, I think TCU is getting a little overvalued after their Kansas doesn't have a good defense, and TCU couldn't score on them early in the game. So they ended up scoring at the end of the game. But at that point, Kansas was scoring as well with a backup quarterback when their starting quarterback was a Heisman contender going into that game. And you lose your Heisman contender on a team like Kansas with no talent to begin with. I mean, they're playing with scraps right now and overperforming by a very, very good coach. And Kansas was keeping you out of the end zone for half the game. And then at the same time you start scoring, you start giving up points. Oklahoma State is much better on both sides of the ball than Kansas is. And it took everything TCU had to win by 7 at Kansas. So I love OK State here +4. And like I said, TCU, sorry again for making fun of your stadium all summer and saying you're a trash fan base, because you just really have bad fans. But you do have a top 5 high school stadium in the Dallas-Fort Worth metropolitan area. And then last bet, I have Texas -17.5. Texas, every week I say this team might be the best team in the Big 12. Texas is the best team in the Big 12 with Quinn Ewers at quarterback. I don't think it's even close. They have a really, really good defense. I think they're gonna run the Big 12. I don't think they get another loss for the rest of the season. Quinn Ewers looks absolutely phenomenal. He could potentially be drafted higher than Bryce Young and CJ Stroud right now if he could come out of college this year. He can't, because rules are rules, but damn, this kid looks good. Xavier Worthy looks incredible. Bijan looking like Bijan. I mean, probably going to be the first running back we've seen go in the first round since Saquon, I think. Or no, Clyde Edwards-Helaire went 32. I forgot about that. But talent all over this Texas team. And Iowa State's not good. Give me Texas -17.5.
Yeah, so as I've said before, most of my college bets are just numbers, analytic based on their averages, their strength schedules, their turnovers per drive, yards per drive, points per drive, all these other factors. It's just numbers that I really go on. And the numbers didn't really make a lot of sense to me this week. So like these over-unders, they're either going to be like obvious or just like bomb out because they're all rat lines. I don't know which. But really, it's just following the math on them. I mean,
you're taking all over-unders basically.
Yeah, pretty much. I didn't like any spreads this week, man. Nothing was hitting for me. Yeah. Nothing was scratching that itch except for Arizona +15. Even that I'm skeptical on.
Washington might be bad. That might be a great pick.
Yeah, that's really what it is. It's fading Washington more than anything. But Illinois, Minnesota. Illinois is the number 1 ranked defense in college football right now. I don't think they have the number 1 defense. So I think they're due for a correction there. Syracuse can score. NC State's a good football team with a good quarterback. Give me the over.
Their quarterback's out, I think.
Is he still? I don't care. They produce him over there. Like
he was out. I know he was out last week. So
yeah. And then Mississippi State, Kentucky is Will Levis the quarterback in Kentucky? Is that right?
Yeah.
Or am I getting that mixed up? Is he back this week?
I don't know. I talked about it in my Kentucky pick. I don't know if he's back this week or not. I think he's supposed to be back, but I mean, Will Rogers might score 46 on that Kentucky defense.
I was just saying, this is assuming Will Levis is back, but you're talking about 2 high-level quarterbacks against each other. I expect points. 46 is a
Yeah,
low
I mean,
number.
Mississippi State's defense is incredible, but they don't have a kicker. So Mississippi State goes for it a lot on fourth downs. And that is an overkiller. Like, they should have beat LSU by 60 points, and they lost outright because they had to go for it on 4th and 3 in LSU territory like 7 times early in the game. And it took LSU like 9 fourth down, like stopping on 4th down 9 times to barely win. So
Yeah.
take that for what you will. But Mississippi State does have the type of offense that can score 46 points. So
Yeah. Yeah, that's kind of where I'm sitting at.
I mean,
Like,
Will
you know,
Rogers
I
is
think-
incredible. I mean,
And
Will
then-
Rogers has thrown 4+ touchdowns in 5 games in his career. He's only played 17 games. So, I mean, and a third of the games Will Rogers has played, he's scored 35 by himself.
There you go. And then Tennessee, Bama. This is probably the total that I'm most nervous about. Like, I can see it sneaking up over 66, but like,
I don't know.
also
Tennessee-
it's in
nobody's been able to stop
Tuscaloosa.
Tennessee.
What?
Yeah, I said nobody's been able to stop Tennessee.
Yeah,
So
so that's
scary,
kind of
but it's
the fact
also
that
Nick
it's in
Saban.
Tuscaloosa, like Nick Saban, it makes me think it's the illusion
So-
of a good bet, maybe. But like, we'll see.
I'll
I'll probably add some more picks on the Twitter by the time we
Yeah.
hit Saturday, as I like am watching some of the cash lines move and the tickets move. But like, this is all I got for now.
I love Tennessee so much in this game. I don't have the balls to bet it, but I love Tennessee in this game.
I was looking at that too. The numbers didn't didn't add up for it, but like
I love Tennessee. in
I
that
was
game,
thinking
man.
about it.
I love
What do
Tennessee
you
so
What do you
much.
think of Florida LSU?
Both trash. I don't have an opinion on it. I think they're both bad.
Yeah. So I was thinking about taking Florida plus 2.5 at home, I think. But like,
Yeah,
I
it's Florida
ended up
LSU.
not taking it because the numbers didn't like it. But
Probably the least
that was
amount,
when I was
least
kinda
amount of juice
aiming
that
at.
game's ever had in the history of those two programs.
Yeah. Yeah. But that's
And
all
then-
I got for you.
Alrighty, that's gonna do it. We're gonna win all of our bets this week, I believe.
Hey, I love our NFL picks.
Hey, and for the first time ever, we're sleeping on the lines this week. We're on a bye week. Let's get some rest. Let's get healthy and get back. The boys will be back.
Yeah.
The boys will be back. I
They'll be back.
believe.
They'll be back better than ever.
I believe. Let's go. Let's
All
win
right.
all of our bets. Have a good night.
Adios. I might have to jump off here as soon as I get the link for this other pod.
You good?
But yeah, dude, I love the NFL slate this weekend.
I'm on call.
It
And
might
with
just
all
be that I haven't slept
the
much
weather-
and was staring at numbers all day too. So
With all the weather we've had, there's a good chance I miss both Saturday and Sunday's games because I'll probably
Yeah.
get called out, which sucks because I love the games. I don't love the lines, but I love the games.
yeah,